Good morning. Thanks for being here today. Want to have this sort of quick media availability. Since yesterday we finished the House bills on third reading, and I guess a couple of things I want to point out. I know some of you were there, but I thought it was very interesting how the two major educational bills, really limped out of the Senate. For supermajority status, neither one of those bills exactly got a ringing endorsement. And in fact, especially on the, as you know, on the school superintendent, what I've labeled you too can be a school superintendent bill. It took the the lieutenant governor coming in, the administration basically coming in and weighing in on that to save that bill. So, and the reason I want to point that out is at the very beginning of the session, when we were asked about, well, what do you think about school reform? Will there be more of it? Will there be expansion of vouchers? Some of these other things. We said that we thought that the reasonable analysis of the election that had just happened was that people were sort of saying, slow down on these things. Let's take time to see where we are, see how these things are working. Let's don't, again, pell-mell rush into, quote, further reform. I think yesterday's very narrow vote with bipartisan opposition to the expansion of vouchers and to this idea on the, anybody with a master's degree can be a school superintendent, sort of reinforces that view of that. Of course, the budget passed. Our caucus was nearly unanimous in its opposition to the budget, and I think with good cause. Part of that is because we know now what the estimated impact will be on public education from the expansion of vouchers, $50 million the first year, $63 million the second year, which again, those of us concerned about vouchers have said over and over again this is going to serve as a drain on funding for public ed. Well, it is, and they've built that into the funding for public ed at this point. So that's, of course, obviously a concern. The other thing I think was the income tax reduction, this nod to the governor's request for an income tax reduction. When you look at this budget, you think in terms of, is there some job creation there? That's really what we're trying to do here, is create jobs, after all, improve the economy of the state of Indiana. Because the shocking reality is that in terms of per capita income, we are lagging. We are not where Indiana should be. So you look in terms of how does this budget move that forward? And is there some job creation? Yes. But when you have the choice between taking $150 million and returning essentially, 80 cents a week to your average taxpayer versus, really putting that $150 million together and using it to create jobs by way of, additional infrastructure work, additional job training. To me, it's a very simple decision at that point. And when I talk to my constituents and explain to them what this really means in terms of dollars they're going to get back, almost unanimously, I have people say, well, I think I'd rather you just keep that money and use it for something more long-lasting for the state of Indiana. And the other concern that I think many of us had with the budget, it's a continued concern, is we're out of here in what, 2 weeks basically, maybe a little bit longer, and there's still not a firm plan from the administration as how we're going to implement the Affordable Care Act. What happens if this proposal that's out there right now gets rejected by the federal government? And I'm very surprised. I would think, as the major policymakers for the citizens of the state, we'd want to say we want to give we want to set in policy more clear direction to the administration on how to proceed on this.